It's Auntie Megan here, and I have a new book for you. I read this one to Stella and Buster the other night, and we really liked it, so I wanted to share it with you. It is called, hopefully this is working, Pickle Chiffon Pie, and it's kind of a silly princess story. A long time ago, there was a fat little king who ruled over the land as far as he could see in every direction. He was very wise, and his kingdom was a happy one. There's the king. His wife, the queen, kept his castle spotless and saw that his robes were cleaned and pressed. She was a very good cook and made him a pickle chiffon pie every day. There she is, making him a pickle chiffon pie. But everybody has problems. The king had a daughter. Oh, she was very nice and did whatever he asked her to. But she was also very beautiful, and every prince in the neighborhood wanted to marry her. Every day they came to the palace with flowers and gifts for her. To be polite, she would ask them all to stay for supper, and that meant there would be less pickle chiffon pie for the king. That was his problem. They have so many people over for supper. That's all there is one slice of pickle chiffon pie. Finally, one day, the king decided that his daughter should marry one of the princes. Then, at least, there would be fewer people at the dinner table each night. He called for the 3 nicest princes and told them that they would be put to a test and that the winner could marry the princess. The first Prince Musclebomb, was very strong and brave. There he is. The princess liked him because he was tall and had wavy hair and freckles. The second Prince Well-Read, there he is, was very smart. He could count up to 684, and he read books 3 inches thick. The princess liked him too, because he read beautiful stories to her and sometimes played music under her window at night. There he is, he's playing music for the princess. The third Prince Bernard, wasn't very strong or very handsome or very smart, but the princess liked him best of all. She didn't really know why she liked him. Perhaps it was because he had a big smile and a funny nose. It's hard to tell about princesses. The king told the 3 princes this, you will each go into the huge forest at the edge of the kingdom for 3 days. As you know, it is full of gazoos, fairies, dimdoozles, all sorts of unusual things. The one who brings back the most unusual, the most marvelous, the most wonderful thing may marry the princess. Now remember, be back in 3 days. So there they are. They're telling the princes what they need to do. Musclebomb was delighted. Being stronger and braver than the others, he thought he would surely win. With a shout, he jumped onto his horse and galloped off in the direction of the forest. There he is. He finally made it to the forest. At first, he didn't see anything unusual. Just a few small dragons, a troll peeking out of a tree, a medium-sized giant. The usual things one sees in a forest. Is that what you see in the forest? Trolls and dragons and giants. But finally, looking behind a huge boulder, he did see something different. A green and blue dragon with 3 heads. 1, 2, 3 heads. Oh my goodness. Toasting marshmallows. Look at, he's toasting a marshmallow with his fire breath. Now there's something unusual. You don't see that every day, thought Prince Musclebomb. But I have 2 more days. I'll look a bit more. On the second day, he saw a 4-wheeled dimdoozle with a pipe and wearing glasses. There it is. He has four wheels. One, two, three, four. And he's smoking his pipe and he has funny glasses. Now there's something different, thought Musclebum. I've never seen a Dimdoozle wearing glasses before. But I have one more day. I'll look a bit more. I've never seen a Dimdoozle. On the third day, he saw something really different. A huge lion juggling 6 cans of root beer soup. Have you had root beer soup? No, me either. That sounds weird. He was wearing a velvet vest and roller skates. There he is in his roller skates. This must surely be the most wonderful thing in the whole forest, called Prince Musclebum. Bravely, he grabbed the lion's tail and started dragging him back toward the castle. The lion says, "Where are we going? You're taking me away." Meanwhile, Prince Well-Red was searching too. The first day, he spied a witch who would turn people into frogs, which really wasn't so special, except that she could do it with her eyes shut and hand behind her back. Have you met a witch that could turn people into frogs? No, me either. Now there's something you don't see every day, thought Well-Red, but I have 2 more days. I'll look a bit more. On the second day, he saw a 16-footed gazoo that had a different kind of shoe on each foot. He has 16 different shoes. Now there's something different, thought Well-Red. I've never seen a gazoo with more than 7 feet. But I have 1 more day left. I'll look a bit more. Let's see if we can count his 16 feet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 feet. Oh my goodness. On the third day, he came upon something really different. A giant with a green beard playing chopsticks on 2 pianos. This must surely be the most wonderful thing in the forest, cried Prince Well-Red. I've never heard that tune before. He cleverly told the giant what a fine piano player he was, and talked him into going back to the castle to play for the king. The giant is really big compared to the piano, huh? A big giant and a little piano. Now let's not forget Prince Bernard. He was searching too. On the first day, he met an ogre so ugly that he scared the leaves right off the trees. Now there's something you don't see every day, thought Bernard. But he might frighten the princess if I brought him back. I have 2 more days. I'll look a bit more. I think the ogre is kind of cute. I don't think he's too ugly. He has got a hole in his shoe and his toe is poking out, though. On the second day, he discovered a tiny house tucked behind a tree. He peeked in and saw that it was filled with mice, all busily painting the most wonderful pictures. Now there's something different, thought Bernard. But it really wouldn't be right to stop such happy, hard-working little fellows right in the middle of their work. I have 1 more day. I'll look a bit more. Here's the little tiny house, and this is what we see in the house. The mice, and they're painting pictures. On the third day, he saw something really different. A 3-nosed snozzle with fuzzy ears and an orange polka dot necktie. And it was busy making Pickle Chiffon Pie. So there's the snozzle. He has 3 noses. 1, 2, 3. And he has an orange polka dot tie. And he is cooking a pickle chiffon pie. This must surely be the most wonderful thing in the whole forest, he cried. I thought the queen was the only one who can make pickle chiffon pie. Oh, the king will be so happy. With that, he grabbed the snozzle's necktie and started leading it back toward the castle. Prince Bernard had never been happier in his whole life. Does the snozzle look happy? He has a tear. I think he might be sad. It was hard pulling the three-nosed Snozzle through the forest, but Prince Bernard didn't mind. He was sure he would win the contest to marry the princess. But he wasn't quite so happy when he saw how sad the Snozzle looked. Oh, he feels bad. Don't feel bad, said Bernard. You'll like living at the palace. It's much nicer than this dark old forest. And anyway, I have to take you back in order to marry the princess. Prince Bernard is trying to tell the Snozzle why he has to take him back to the castle. Then Bernard noticed several tiny Snozzles peering out from behind the trees. There's a tiny Snozzle. There's a tiny Snozzle. There's a tiny Snozzle. What are those tiny Snozzles? Why, aren't they cute? He said. Are they your children? Oh, the Snozzle has babies. The three-nosed Snozzle nodded with big, wet tears coming into his eyes. What will happen to them when you're gone? Do they have anyone to take care of them? The Snozzle shook his head sadly. There's no one to take care of his babies. Prince Bernard sat down on a log to think. He thought of his love for the princess. He thought of the Snozzle's love for its children. For a long time it was very quiet and still in the forest. Finally, with a sigh, the prince let go of the Snozzle's necktie and watched it scamper off. Then he turned and walked slowly toward the castle. His 3 days were up. Oh, poor Prince Bernard. When all the princes were called to appear before the king, Musclebaum had a big smile on his face. He was sure he would win with his juggling lion. Well-Red was smiling too. He was just as sure that he would win when the king heard the giant play his 2 pianos. Bernard hung his head sadly as he stood empty-handed behind the others. The king was delighted with Musclebaum's lion. Wonderful, he cried as the lion juggled 23 apples and a bottle of catsup. And when Well-Red's giant played chopsticks on his 2 pianos, the king laughed and clapped his hands in delight. How wonderful, he cried, so unusual. Then he turned to Bernard. And what have you brought back, he asked. Prince Bernard bowed low before the king. He hoped that no one noticed the tears in his eyes as he raised his head and said softly, Nothing, your majesty. He told of meeting the ugly ogre who might have frightened the princess. He told of seeing the amazing mice whose painting he could not bring himself to interrupt. He told of the tiny Snozzle children that he could not bear to leave in the forest. Prince Bernard is very kind. There was a silence in the castle. No one spoke for a long time. Bernard wished that he could run and hide. Everyone was looking at him, all except the princess and the queen. They were whispering to the king. There they are, whispering to the king. The king nodded his head and smiled. Bernard, he said in a loud voice, you have won the right to marry the princess. But why, your majesty? I didn't bring back anything, said Bernard. Oh, yes, you did, my son, said the king. You brought back a story of kindness and love and consideration for others. Truly, the most wonderful thing of all. You'll make a fine husband for my daughter. When Bernard married the princess, Well-Red's giant played the wedding march, and Musclebaum's lion put on a special exhibition to entertain the guests. And guess who sent Bernard and the princess the biggest pickle chiffon pie anyone ever saw for a wedding present? That's right, the 3-nosed Snozzle with the fuzzy ears and the orange polka dot tie. There they have their giant pickle chiffon pie. The end. And there's the king with his piece. Isn't that a nice story? There was a kind prince, and that is called Pickle Chiffon Pie, and it is by Jolly Roger Bradfield. I hope that you enjoyed that as much as Stella and Buster and I did. And I hope that you are having so much fun with your new little sister. I can't wait to meet her and see you. I'm so excited. And for now,